Hello, it is now 7 p.m. I am C. Ron Allen.
And I am Daryl Creary, and a warm welcome to each of you to this week's edition of Community Conversation.
Here at Community Conversation, we take full advantage of remote technology to bring our young kings and queens together with members of the community, with our community leaders and their peers from across the country. And no, I was just reminded from across the world because we now have people from 6 countries watching us tonight.
As you will see tonight, this 1 hour mentoring forum deepens connections and it provides discussions on a range of topics, including social emotional issues, race and inequality, improving relations with law enforcement, post secondary education, careers, health and wellness, and politics. Let me say thanks to all the parents, adults, grandparents, educators, and responsible community servants who, every Friday night, hang out with us to share ideas and instill value in us, young people. We hear from you in the streets and we get your feedback. And for that, we thank you in your value. You are indeed making a contribution to your community. Now, before I go on, Mr. Ciron, I
Yes,
noticed
sir.
that you're out of your usual jacket for this evening. Care to explain why in a different area?
Well, Daryl, Don Lemon, excuse me. I am in South Florida where the temperature a few days ago when I woke up was about 48 degrees. And I
Wow.
have proof to show you. Neil, show them, Neil, show them the proof. Daryl, I have all these nice sweaters, these nice hats, and I have my gloves. And I don't get a chance to wear them too often. So when the opportunity arises, I believe in seizing that moment. Okay. Well, you may say, and I know Miss W out there saying this now. Maybe I'm stuck in a moment of nostalgia, but you know what? I'm about seizing opportunities when they arise. And young people, oftentimes, opportunities knock but once. So seize it when it comes your way. Anyway, I see we have Miss Anushka with us. Wow, President Anushka is with us this week. So, Madam President, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Siron?
Girl, I am just so happy to see you. I'm doing great. Excuse me. I'm so happy to see you. So excited to see you, Anushka. I'm having. Wow, let me drink some water here.
Mr. Siron, how can you not like the cold? It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. You won't believe, Anushka, I am having oatmeal cookies and cheese. I have my eggnog and I have my water right here with me. So, I'm in a Christmas mood already. I don't know about you, but I am just so happy. But listen. How was your week in school? This was 4 weeks before the holiday. How was your week?
My week was good, Mr. Siron.
Really, what was so good about it?
I learned, I'm learning about fractions now because last
You're
unit,
learning about fractions?
yes, Mr. Siron. Last unit was dividing with decimals.
Excuse me.
So
Hmm.
we're on a new unit and now I'm learning how to estimate fractions. And
Okay.
it's fun because my teacher likes fractions and I do too.
You do. Okay. So you're wrapping up your year as president of our Soaring Eagles Aviation Program. How was your year as a leader? What was it
My
like? What was it like being a president?
it what first I didn't know at first I didn't know what to do, but in the middle and at the end I learned how to do what be a good leader, a better leader at the end of the year because being president it taught me how to be a better leader.
Did you have a gavel? Were there times when you had to, knock your gavel to keep DJ and James Lee in order? Did you have to do that at times?
Well, not DJ, only James Lee, because he
You got out of hand, huh?
night during class.
That's a good bit, Anushka. So, what have you learned as president that you think will help you later on in school?
Well, when I'm in a higher grade, know, and my teacher tells me to like be a role model,
Mhm.
I'll be prepared because I learned from KLP.
Oh,
Excellent.
all right. That sounds good. Now, your when's your last day as president?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I can stick my head into your meeting. I'm gonna try my best to be there. Okay.
You're always there, Mr. Sierra.
Well, hey, you never know. You never know. Maybe I'm out of town. How about that?
But when I'm out of town, I still go to school.
She caught
Okay.
you there.
Point taken, Anushka. Point taken. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. How about that? What time? 9:30 or 9?
Nah, well, you have to join at 8:45
Why is that?
because you don't want to be there when it just starts. You want to be prepared.
Good, because if you show up on time, you're late. Okay. Show up on time, you're late. Well, Anushka, it was great having you, darling. You be good. Great year as president, and I'll see you in the morning. I see Janaya is over there. Janaya, why don't you join us? How are you?
I think Janaya left.
Really? She's okay. Is DJ here? DJ with us? How about DJ?
Well,
Yes, Mr.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Siron.
Oh, DJ and Tristan. Hey, DJ, what's going on? Okay, Anushka,
Everything's
see you later
great.
now.
Yeah. This is
How was your
me,
week?
Tristan Blake.
Oh,
My week was
well.
great.
Okay, Mr. Tristan
It
Blake, how are
was
you?
okay.
What was so okay about it?
Yeah. The reason why it was okay is because I have to write a bunch of essays. I have to write one for your competition. I have to write one for the Ben Carson Scholar. It was just really hard doing everything, but mom was there and she helped me through everything.
Oh, so your mom actually did your essays for you, huh?
No, I did some. I did my Ben Carson essay all by myself, but she helped me a bit with the other one.
Got you. Got you. All right, see, Janaya's back. So DJ, listen, you hop in next Friday, and we'll spend some more time talking about your essay next Friday. Oh, how about that?
Yes, Mr. Sivan.
All right, buddy. See you later now.
Bye.
Miss
Okay, bye.
Janaya, there she is. Girl, I'm so happy to see you. I've been seeing your text the last couple of weeks, but I miss you on the show. We certainly missed you the last couple of weeks. How are you?
I'm great, Mr. Ciron. How are you?
Pretty good. Good. How is school going these days? You're virtual or you're in person?
I'm virtual.
You're virtual. How is that going?
Pretty good. I rather be on virtual, one because it's the safer option and it's working better for me, especially
Mhm.
since I don't have any like siblings, so I don't get distracted as easily as some people might. So virtual has worked very well for me.
Okay. Now, what's a typical day like? Do you start your day? I know you guys start with 7:15, 7:30, somewhere there, and you go to about 2:30. You guys still do that, and you sit in front of a computer all day? Is that how it works?
Yes, we get on at our first class starts at 7:30, so we join the Google Meet, and then like in between every Google Meet is like 2 minutes, so you don't get a real break until lunch, which is from 12 to 12:40, and then right after lunch is another class. So basically, you're sitting in front of a computer from 7:30 to 2:15 with a small break in between.
Oh, okay. Okay, how many students in your class?
Um, right now, the highest that I've had is like 22, but that's because it's a mixture of a bunch of different grades. So like there's classes with freshmen and sophomores, and then there's sophomores and juniors. And then my lowest class is only 8 students because we're all freshmen
Got
or
you.
sophomores.
Oh, so it's like college. Okay. Well, always great having you, Janaya. And you wrote an essay. You wrote an essay recently on the. What was your essay on?
It was on whether or not we need the Electoral College to pick the President of the United States.
And how'd you do on that? Or how do you think you did?
I believe I did pretty well. I wrote on it for a while. I got all my ideas down, and I had to like revise it a little bit. So it was good. I think I did pretty well.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Mr. John will be talking more about that later. Janaya, always great seeing you, darling. Have a great week next week, and you're always welcome to just hang out with us in the studio. All right?
You have a good one now.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Take care now. Folks, it is with a sad heart that I report the passing of an ardent supporter of KOP Mentoring Network and a legend in the Delray Beach community. And I speak of Mr. Alfred Zach Strawn. Mr. Strawn was the great grandfather of one of our very own students, Miss Denaya Strawn, and Fearless, who was one of our oratorical contest winners some years ago. Mr. Just a few nuggets about Mr. Strawn. He started a traveling softball team back in the 1960s and in the 70s. He fought to integrate the beach for blacks to be able to, and he also fought for blacks to be able to use a laundromat downtown Delray Beach. He fought for them to be able to stay in hotels and to eat at white-owned restaurants downtown Delray Beach. Folks, he was also instrumental. Okay, he is largely responsible for the city's hiring of black police officers. You can read more about Mr. Strawn, in fact, now on the Boca Raton Tribune.com. There's a story there that outlines all this about him. By the way, he was 92, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Strawn family. We welcome our friends who are joining us either on KOP Mentoring Networks or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages. And as usual, we're now on Instagram at KOPM Network, or you can see us on YouTube. Neil, you have a word from Healthier Delray Beach for us.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Healthier Delray Beach. The Healthier Delray Beach initiative strives to serve as a trusted advocate for the behavioral health needs for Delray Beach community by creating awareness, encouraging acceptance and equality, and developing a system of care. Healthier Delray Beach is located at 555 Northwest 4th Street, Delray Beach. Learn more about Healthier Delray Beach at www.hdb.org or call 561-703-8691.
Okay. Thank you, Shamari. All right, young men, I want to make you a challenge. I would like you to hang out with me as we learn a few things about this game that we call life, okay? Whether you're ready or not, you're in this game that we call life. Let me ask you, if you were next to make your move, would you know exactly what to do? Are you prepared to make the next move in this game we call life? Just think about it. If your answer to any of those two questions is no, you definitely need to attend the Embody workshop on Sunday, December 6th. Now, this virtual program is geared towards young men in grades 6 through 12, and we will hear, better yet, we'll learn about financial literacy, college readiness, personal development, entrepreneurship. What is that? Show up so you can find out. And character development. If you want to attend, which I strongly encourage you to do, you must register by tomorrow. That's Saturday, December 5th. Once you register, you get the meeting details. Now, if you need more information, contact Loy Haston at 561-714-9962, and that number will be on the screen. You can go back and check it out on the Facebook page, or you can email info@sopalmbeachdst.com. That's info@southpalmbeachdst.com. And Embody is empowering males to build opportunities for developing independence. And Embody is brought to you by the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
So if we're having any new viewers here tonight, let you know what we stand for here. Here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares youth to manage their time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for a leadership minute.
Let me talk to you today about the biggest challenge I have in my life. John Maxwell here. Welcome to Minute with Maxwell. The biggest challenge I have in my life is creating balance. I have fought this battle my entire life. And when I talk to other leaders, I find that they basically have to fight that very same balance. That battle of trying to balance all the things in your life so that somehow there's a sense of life and a sense of rhythm that allows you to feel that you're just kind of totally whole and integrated. I've come to the conclusion, you may not agree with this. In fact, I love this to be discussions. In fact, there are times on Minute with Maxwell, I wish you and I could just talk. Wouldn't that be fun? You may not agree with this, but let me just share with you what I have learned and what I think. I don't think there's such a thing as balance. I just don't.
I'm live on the air.
I've talked to enough people to believe that life keeps you out of balance because life is uneven, life is unfair, life is surprising, life is fleeting. There's nothing about life that's predictable except that the sun will rise and the sun will set. And in between those times, it can be quite different and quite chaotic. And so I think when we say, I'm going to be balanced, you could only be balanced in an environment and an atmosphere that allows you to be balanced, in an environment and atmosphere that's the same and that's predictable. And I just don't think life is predictable. I was just involved in a very, very difficult time over the Christmas season. I had a friend of mine whose daughter committed suicide. And I can remember spending time with them. And they said, one moment, John, we're having Christmas dinner and we're laughing and raising glasses, getting ready for a new year. And the next moment, we find that our daughter is dead. There's no balance in life. Life is extremely uneven and unfair. So I think that when I try to get everything even keel, I'm just working against the odds and swimming against the tide. I think we need to think of seasons in our life, not balance. And what I mean by seasons is that we have these times where what the times call for us to do is very intense. For example, all of a sudden, all of the holiday and the beginning year celebrations this family is going to do, they're all thrown out the window. Now they've got to grieve and come together and be strong and be there in community for each other as a family. It's a season. Hopefully, after a period of time, that season passes and they can now begin to do something a little different. They can have a change of pace and have some hope and some joy and some perhaps peace in their life. What I'm saying to you is I get into my seasons of work. I'm in a writing season right now. And to be honest with you, I'm up every morning at 5 o'clock. I've been writing sometimes up to 14 hours a day. It's a season. And when I'm in one of those seasons, I have a phrase that I say to myself often. And the phrase is, "This too shall pass." In fact, I'm just about through with my writing season. By the end of this month, I will have finished the book. The manuscript will be done, tucked away. And I won't be writing to that long every day. I write every day, but I won't be writing 8, 12, 14 hours a day. I'll be in a different season. In fact, I'm going to go into a season of replenishing. When I'm in my writing season, I don't do a lot of reading because I need the time to write. And I can hardly wait because I've got my stack of books, the things that I can hardly wait to pick up. And there's a book called Eyewitness to Power. I can hardly wait to get into that book. But I'm not in it yet because I'm in my season of writing, but I'm going to go into my season of reading. Well, we have seasons with for our family. We have seasons for our personal growth. And when I say seasons, I'm not talking about months. It may be a day or two. And this is my season right here. So I'm not defining seasons as a long period of time. I'm just defining season as a definite period of time. And what I want you to understand is you've got to understand the seasons. Now, one word of caution for me, because this is a battle that I've constantly had to fight my entire life. When a season goes too long, it's no longer a season. It's a habit. And now I've got to deal with another issue, and that is, am I unwilling to move from one season to another? Am I more comfortable in some seasons than I am of others? So I've got to deal with those issues because it's not healthy to prolong a season and not have the balanced life that you really want to have. But remember this, whatever season you're in, this too shall pass. Be ready to go to something new. I had a great mentor friend of mine, I call him affectionately E.T., who said, "John, never leave something, always go to something." When I think of seasons, that's what I'm always doing. I'm going to the next season of my life, which is going to give me another part of the balanced life that I really need. Hope that's been helpful to you. It certainly has given you something to think about, hasn't it? John's my name. I'm glad you're with me today on Minute with Maxwell.
Whoa, today's leadership minute felt more like 3 if I do say so myself. But for our new video viewers, Mr. Maxwell is the man of the hour, always referenced to and always has some good insight for us to learn from. The stool shall pass. We want our viewers to recognize that tonight. So a special welcome to our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Jamaica, Tobago, and the US Virgin Islands. Please remember to share community conversation on your social media pages. If you missed a show, you can find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentoring Network's Facebook pages. This segment is brought to you by the generous donation of Healthier Delray Beach, Blanc New Looks Barbershop, DNA Total Fitness, Ezra Craig, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. Thanks to our sponsors, we are able to bring you community conversation each week. As you interact with your friends and neighbors, please tell them to like our sponsors on Facebook and follow them on Instagram. We thank them for caring for our youth. Hey gentlemen, want a breath of fresh air? Visit Blanc Fresh Cut Barbershop in Delray Beach for the most detailed cutting and grooming styles. For a trim, fade, or other hairstyle, Blanc Fresh Cut can hook you up. Hands down, they provide the best cut in town. Visit them at 704 West Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach. Call 561-278-8466 for Blanc Fresh Cut Barbershop, where the staff is always friendly, courteous, and anxious to provide you the best experience possible.
Are you trying to send me a subtle message, young man? That's all right. I have an appointment for next week, next Wednesday at Blanc, so I'll be going in to see him. I've been busy the last couple of days. That's why I haven't stopped by to see him. Anyway, folks, tonight's show is produced by Miss Jordina Bazoo, a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School, as well as the Milagro Center. Darryl Creary, a graduating senior also from Atlantic High School, is serving as our production intern, and these days he has been working feverishly to take my job in the big chair. Our illustrious cinematographer is Neil Sunskin, Neil Noel, and he's a proud product of KOP Mentor Network and Village Academy. I must say, I am so impressed by this young man's work. Every week, he just keeps impressing me more. And Neil, publicly, I just want to say how proud I am of your work. Mr. Ezekiel Hobbs, a graduating senior at Florida A&M University, that's the one up in Tallahassee, and he's serving as our public relations intern, and certainly he's responsible for all the posts you've been seeing on our social media pages. Now, it might seem unbelievable given that the Christmas creep now begins before Halloween. You go to stores and you hear Christmas songs even before Halloween, days, weeks before Halloween. But the true Christmas season, DJ, Anushka, and all you young people out there, the true Christmas season actually starts on Christmas Day itself. That's right. December 25th marks the official start of the 12 days of Christmas, the Christmas tradition that shares its name with a relatively and relentlessly stick in your head Christmas carol. I'm not going to sing it for you, but you know one on the first day of Christmas, what happens. Now, we're not going to talk about the story behind the holidays, most annoying carol, where someone received gifts for their true love every 12 days. Instead, we have today Miss Cynthia Ridley, who will tell us about all the goodies that she has planned around Delray Beach this Christmas amid the pandemic. Cynthia, how are you?
Great. I'm great. I am great. Thanks for having me.
Always great to see you. Now, when I hear 12 Days of Christmas, the first thing comes to mind is that pesky song that really has no meaning to me. Ladies dancing, wines, drinking, and drunkards staggering and all that good stuff. But what is this 12 Days of Christmas in Delray Beach? How, what's this all about?
Well, I sit on an organization that we created about a year or so ago called the Bahamian Celebration Committee. And last year we celebrate the Bahamian Celebration Committee. And so we want to do something different. We was put to a task and asked what could we do. And so through the Bahamian Celebration Committee, so I said, well, my committee got together, even through this pandemic, we say, well, let's still do what we do, make some things happen. So we came up with a thing, the 12 Days of Christmas, Love and Joy. And the reason we came up with this because, families are hurting, community is hurting, parents don't have money, and we just want to create a love and joy environment in Delray Beach, not only in Delray, but through Palm Beach County, because everybody is welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas. Mm-hmm. We want to fill in where those parents probably can't buy no toys. We want to fill in where we want children to be able to come together. And we invited pretty much every organization in Delray to be a part of this because we didn't want to leave no one out. And people still asking, can they be a part of it? I'm like, yes, because we want to spread love and joy through Delray. If you see our calendar, we want to give out something every day in 12 days. We're exercising. We got a church that's going to prepare food on the 25th and the 26th.
Which church? Which church is that?
It's out west of Delray. It's a Haitian church.
That's all right. That's all right. Give me the address. I'll be there. You say on the 25th?
The 24th and the 25th, we'll be at the Spade
Okay.
House in the parking lot. They're gonna actually do a sit-down meal. They're gonna provide toys. We want to that day because the Karen Kitchen actually gonna be closing those 2 days, and so they asked, could we fit them in for the 24th and the 25th of December? And we said yes, because we want to make sure families can be able to come and get some food, children can be able to come and get some toys. We have a black our organization called Black Lions, which is a black motorcycle group. They're gonna come on Christmas Day. They're gonna have bounce houses and popcorn, and so we want toys to be coming in on Christmas Day. So
You said the Karen Kitchen. What is the Karen Kitchen?
we know the Karen Kitchen's where they feed the homeless 5 days a week. They moved their location, so they actually are now fixing food at Quezon.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
but they still are delivering food. So they decided to be closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And so they are partnering, and we're partnering with the church out west of Derry. I got to think of the Haitian church that's out west.
Bethel. I think it's Bethel, the Haitian Bethel Baptist Church.
That's it. Absolutely. So they're going to come in, they're going to do a toy drive, they're going to fix a nice meal for the community. So everybody is welcome. They're going to do it.
What time will they be serving? What time will they be serving food?
I think on the 24th, it'll be at 11 o'clock. And then on Christmas, I think it's at 4. So those are 2 times they have given us. It might change.
11 and 4. Make sure I'm there 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Fix my plate, Cynthia, please.
They say the food is great. So I got that from Shona Costello. She said the food is great. And so we're going to have a sit-down meal for the families that come, and anybody is welcome to come on those 2 days to get a great meal to do that. And so we really want to try to do a good toy drive in the community, because every time a child comes, we want to give them something to take back home, or either a parent, to making sure that no child didn't get anything for Christmas. Or
Cynthia,
come out.
I have a question. Someone just text. And folks, if you have questions for us and a comment you want to make, you can put it in the chat, or you can text it to 561-665-0151. There's a question. If we have toys and we want to drop off toys, where can we do so?
You can drop them off at the Spady House. That is one of our main hubs. We're taking donations there as well. So
What's the address of the Spady House?
Yes, in Delray, you can drop them off at Spady House.
Where do you have the address? We'll get that later from Charlene.
Yeah, Charlene can give the address. Yes, so all toys and donations can be given to Spady House.
Okay. Now, Cynthia, how does celebrating 12 days of Christmas build community?
I think it builds because they're kind of lost. And I think it's just a lot of sadness. We hearing about this coronavirus, and I think parents are just feeling down. So I think these 12 days will be a way of building people back up, getting some more conversation talking, because I think we're being closed down. The children are at school, some are at home. And I think it's a lot of opportunity for parents to come out. They're not doing a Christmas parade this year. So, they're not visiting, they can visit the Christmas tree downtown. But that's it. So we want to create some fun.
Now, in light, I know it's good. It's good. It's great that we're doing this. But in light of COVID, what precautions are being taken? There are some people who are texting me saying they'd like to be there, but they're apprehensive. What guarantee will there be for safety?
Well, mask up. Make sure you have your mask on. You won't be allowed on the premise unless you have your mask on. And we'll allow a few people at a time to come in. So we won't have a gang at one time.
You'll be practicing social distancing.
We'll be practicing social distancing, and we'll be there for at least wherever we at for 3 hours. So people have a long time to come out. So it won't just be 30 or 45 minutes. Whatever event we'll do, it'll be between 2 and 3 hours. So parents can come out. If it's too many, we know how to slow it down. Our police department is going to be actually involved in it with us as well.
And we're also going to be doing, I think we're going to be doing caroling one evening. KOP will be doing caroling. What evening will that be? 21st?
The 21st, yes.
And folks, I can't sing. In fact, you guys don't want me to sing, but so if you have a voice and you can hold a tune, please, sir, please, ma'am, at 4 p.m. on the 21st, join us at Libby Wesley Park on the corner of Northwest Fifth or Southwest Fifth and Atlantic Avenue. That's the park right across from Checkers. Please, sir, please, ma'am, come out and lend your voice for 2 hours from 4 to 6 that evening. Am I correct, Cynthia? 4 to 6?
Yes, and please come back out, because say what will be there when you finish, and we'll be doing some exercising and having some fun. They're gonna actually provide some hot dogs and stuff for the children and people that come back as well. So please come back when they finish singing, because we're gonna do some exercising, and we're gonna also have some hot dogs and things to give out to the children as well. So the kids, every child will receive a gift as they come back. We want to make sure they receive something from us as well.
And what's the first day of the event or first event, the date of the
The
first
first day
event?
of the event is started December the 15th.
15th. We have time. So next week we'll make sure we push this on the show again next week. Cynthia Ridley, always great seeing you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Folks, I have a question here about what are the 12 days of Christmas? Well, what are the 12 days of Christmas? Interesting. Well, the 12 days of Christmas is a period of, I'm sure Pastor Alexis can allude to this, elaborate more on this later on. But it's the period in Christian, in biblical terms, Christian theology, that marks the span between the birth of Christ and the coming of the Magi, the three wise men. You probably heard of those. And I think it starts on December 25th, on Christmas Day. And it runs through January 5th or January 6th, the Epiphany. And it's also called the Three Kings Day. Leading up to that, the 4 weeks preceding Christmas, that's called Advent, and that ends on the 24th of September. 24th of December, more than you actually expected. But see the things you learn on Community Conversation. Okay, I see Mr. John over there knocking on. Mr. John, what's going on, brother?
Man, blessed to make it through another week. Before we hop into
Let
it,
him in,
though,
please,
I have to
muted,
show.
Brother.
It's some little
There you
historical artifacts to
Ooh, 6. Can't hear you, bro.
today.
Can't hear you.
December 4th,
I got mine too.
1906.
I can put mine on. Ooh,
Alpha
it's
Phi
cold in here, brother.
Fraternity Incorporated
I'm
was
dressed for the.
was
Hey, you know
founded.
what? 1906 was a heck of a year. What happened in 1906 on this date?
Man, Alpha Phi for the first
I
black.
need some volume, Dina, please. Anna,
I think everything's good on my
John.
end. I think.
Okay, why don't you log out and come back in? But 1906, guys, was the year that Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity was founded on the campus of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. And that's what Mr. John and I were alluding to. He so happens to be a member of that great organization. In fact, the very first Greek letter organization that we had for people of color. So once Mr. John gets back, we'll be able to pick up on that conversation. In the meantime, Daryl, what's been happening in your world? How was
Just
school this week?
working on a.
Everybody
It's been
seems to be
actually
muted.
great.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me right now.
Is it me or is it you guys?
Nothing.
No.
I think it might be your audio headset, sir. Your headset. So maybe you need
It's me.
to
Okay.
like fix
All right,
it a
Dina, it's
bit.
me. Okay.
But yeah. All right. So
Well, they're
just to
telling me
like
it's me,
go
John. So
over for everyone
Got
that
it.
can.
So
Oh, Mr.
everybody heard
John.
what I said. So, all right. So
Yeah. Well, it just go
yeah,
over
to
what we're
hop
talking about.
into it, man, I wanna talk a little bit about. So as we know, civic engagement. Just because the general election passed, that doesn't stop when it comes to civic engagement. So wanted to share a couple of things, wanted to talk with you all and share some information and kind of get everybody excited of what's going on down in Georgia, then also what's happening as it relates to the cabinet picks and the things that Joe Biden is looking to help as it relates to his administration. So in Georgia, for the Senate runoff, the election day is January 5th. The registration deadline is December 7th. And then if they wanted to register by mail, your registration has to be postmarked by December 7th. Absentee ballot deadline, you have to request it by January 1st, so New Year's Day. And then, of course, it has to be returned by mail, and it has to be received by 7 o'clock on January 5th. If you're coming in person, same, January 5th at 7 o'clock. And then want to go over early voting. Early voting will start December 14th through January 1st. And of course, depending on your district and the county that you live in, the times may vary. And who can vote? Got to be 18 years old. So it's a very important election down in Georgia, and wanted to talk a little bit about on Sunday. So on Sunday, there will be debates taking place down in Georgia at 7 o'clock. Loeffler and Warnock will be debating on CNN. And then at 5 o'clock, Ossoff will be giving a speech. So it turns out that David Perdue will not be debating him. And so looking forward to tuning in on Sunday and staying civically engaged in that way, because as you know, the result of that election can, of course, impact the Senate and can also impact the presidency and the things that he's able to pass and get through Congress. And throughout this week, there's been a lot of comments related to his cabinet. And so I wanted to look at the headlines of 4 articles. So one headline is lawmakers to Biden, step it up on cabinet diversity. Another one is Biden on nominating diverse cabinet. I'm going to keep my commitment. So that's one of the things that he has said, that's something that he's going to make sure happens. Then you have 7 civil rights groups that want to meet with Joe Biden to discuss appointing more Black officials in top roles and not low-ranking roles. And then the last, if you had a chance to watch CNN on Thursday, so yesterday, he again has doubled down in his efforts to make sure that he has one of the most diverse cabinet in history. And so I think the biggest thing in kind of looking at some of his nominations, he's expected in the coming weeks to make more, but the Black leaders have expressed concern based on his current picks about the lack of representation in the upcoming administration. And so again, not all of his picks have been made, but the ones that have been made, have highlighted or had an opportunity to shed light and give others an opportunity to serve that normally are not able to serve. But, the flip side to that is the concern that he's not doing enough. And so I think that his whole term would be kind of, because, people of color was really got him in office and took him over the top. And so the expectation is that representation would be available as well. So
yeah, John, John, I agree with what you're saying, but all I have to say about that is the number 2 pick. What is she?
Absolutely.
She shattered glass ceilings. There's still a lot more. There's still a lot more nominations to be made. So let's be patient, guys. Man hasn't even been inaugurated yet. Let's
exactly.
be patient. Anyway, Mr. John, it was great having you, brother. Always good hanging out with you.
Absolutely, man. Especially on today, but for sure.
Yep. So, what was that? Okay, guys, the month of December brings observances that are significant to people of all faith and backgrounds. And for the guests who are joining me now, will you please log in and join me in the studio? Now, Hanukkah's 8 days begin December 22nd. Christmas is celebrated December 25th. And Kwanzaa's 7 days commence the next day on December 26th. It should be noted that there are at least 14 religious holidays that believers celebrate in December. 14 religious holidays that believers celebrate in December. Most of these celebrations are inspired by Christmas and Hanukkah, the two major religious holidays celebrated by Christians and Jewish believers, respectively, in America. Those two are. Yes, they are. But with an increasing amount of interfaith marriages, many American families have had to figure out how to celebrate both holidays. And that's according to Interfaith Family, which is a support website for interfaith families. Tonight we have a panel, and they will discuss among 4 holidays, similarities among 4 of the holidays that go beyond the calendar. Our very first guest is the Reverend C. Alexis Talbot, and she's a senior pastor at Quezon United Methodist Church here in Delray Beach. And I must say she's been working tirelessly to bring the church to the community. Before Reverend Talbot, great having you this evening. Thank you so much. She's not with us yet. Okay, here she is. My friend, Pastor, how are you? Unmute yourself first. Unmute yourself first, Pastor. That's all right. You're like me.
I know.
Hey, that's
so
all right.
I'm doing great. How are you doing? You sound like you're doing great. This is a wonderful show. It's the first time I've been on, so it's been great.
All right. That's all right, and it won't be the last. We're going to make sure we see more of you on the show. But before we have you tell us about Christmas and its significance, we heard that you're having an event tomorrow. Tell us about it, if you will, please.
Oh, it's called Quezon Family Christmas, and it's just going to be a great event. It's all outdoors at our site, which is Lake Ida and Swinton. The Trinity Church is across the street. Mm-hmm. And so you come as a family, you can come individually. We're going to have different stations that are socially distant. Everyone, of course, needs to wear a mask. And you can make a card to give to a loved one. You can make an ornament. We're going to have a whole tent that talks about what Christmas is, especially the Nativity and that very first Christmas. And, there might be a little bit of Santa Claus and maybe a little bit of Mr. Santa Claus. Also, photos can be taken as well.
What about hayride? Will you have hayride? Hayride?
That's coming next. It's actually Florida's sleigh ride is a hayride. So we call it
sleigh ride. Okay.
Yeah, Florida sleigh ride. And it's going to be, we have this wonderful acreage next to our church. And one of the neat things is we have reached out to the community and asked for people to actually create either a wonderland or a nativity or religious scene. Okay. And we're going to have them all out. They're 4x8, and they're going to be out in the West Lawn. And you can take your sleigh ride out there, jump on the back of the truck, or you can also walk through as well. Right now, I think we have about a dozen entries. And it's no charge if you didn't hear about it, but you have something beautiful you want to bring that you can set outdoors. Just bring your easel, whatever you want to do. And we're very, very excited about being able to connect with different people in the community and the artwork that they do.
What time will that be tomorrow?
It starts at 2 p.m. and it'll go till 5:30. And then you can drive your car over to the West Lawn and watch Charlie Brown's Christmas. And we have, we have a low
eggnog.
No, bring your own. Bring your own. Yeah.
Okay, Pastor, you mentioned the nativity scene. What is Christmas? What does it commemorate?
Oh yeah, there's only one holy day that's bigger in the Christian church, and that's Easter, when Jesus was resurrected from the dead. But this is a commemoration of Jesus being born, of God looking across the earth and saying, boy, oh boy, so much sin, so much pain. I'm gonna pour myself into human flesh, and I'm going to grow up amongst the people and let them know how much I love them and how much I care about them. And so at Christmas is when the baby Jesus was born. He was his mama's name was Mary, and I'll tell you what, she was like any other person. She kept house. She went to school. She didn't do anything. She wasn't from royal heritage. She just was like everyone else. And the angel came to her and said, we need you. And God is calling you to carry the Christ child and the Messiah, the one that you have been waiting for. That's what Messiah means. So it's very, very exciting to be able to spend these 24, well, actually, you said it earlier, Advent season. It actually began on November 29th. It usually begins the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Right.
And we have 4 weeks of just a time of preparation. That's what Advent means, is to prepare, to wait for the coming of the Christ King.
You know, Pastor, why do we light a Christmas tree at Christmas? This may not be a question appropriate for the pastor, for the minister, but, you know, it said that Germany started the tradition of putting up Christmas tree. Why? How did this come about?
Right. Well, the whole idea was to be able to bring an understanding of what is how Jesus was born. You know, he was born in a stable, or back then, stables were more like caves. Yeah, and so and he was born in this manger, and so to bring a tree in is a reminder that Christ was born out of doors. To put lights on the tree, actually, to begin with, they were candles. Can you even imagine putting candles on a Christmas tree? But that's exactly what they did, and the reason is because Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And he also said, you are the light of the world too. And if you have a Bible, and I have my Bible here, if you have a Bible, you can look it up, and it's John chapter 8. And we can read. The Pharisees are giving Jesus a really, really hard time. And Jesus is like, wait, no, I'm the light of the world, and you can be that light as well. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned great transition, Pastor. You mentioned the light of the world. We have someone coming in right now after you to talk about the season of lights. And thank you so much, Pastor. It's always great having you in my presence.
It's been wonderful. Thank you. And blessings to everyone, however you celebrate the season, and just know how much you are loved. Yeah.
Thank you much. Dr. Bruce Hoffman, bring him in, please.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Bruce.
How are you?
Dina. I'm doing great. Where's Dina? Dina. Anyway, Dr. Bruce, how goes it?
It is fantastic to have the holiday season and to have wonderful friends during the challenging times with the COVID, but we do have light and festivity in our hearts and our lives if we look for it. And sometimes we have to look for it. And one of the interesting aspects about the Festival of Lights, known as Hanukkah in the Jewish faith, is that there was a miracle that was overcome. Many times in life and in the world, we've seen that there's challenges. In this particular case, that the Greek-Syrian organization, army, was led by Antichris. And he wanted to just have one way of thinking. He didn't want to have diverse thoughts and ideas. So he shut down the temples. He shut down many ways of being able to pray and to communicate. He wanted to have total control. And so, like we find in many areas in life, is that there are certain people who will, you'll say, kowtow to it. But there was a small group called the Maccabees, and they brought a lot of their friends, and they revolted against the Greek Syrian army. And this small group overcame them. And when they went into the temple, and in the Jewish faith, the temple, the synagogue is where they pray, is where they grow, is where they learn, is where the community comes together, was defiled. It was messed up. It was destroyed. It was broken. And in there, as they came about, they found one little vial of oil. And so in those days, they didn't have electricity. They had oil. And so they lit the one vial of oil. And the miracle was that it lasted for 8 days. And if you can see the menorah possibly over here, this is a full one that's electric. And then I have one over here, which you may be able to see or not, that we're going to light. Now, how it's lit is that the very first candle, the top candle, is called the shamus. And the shamus is the director. Oop. Don't play with fire, Dr. Bruce. Here we go. And let me see if you can see that.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Now, the unique thing about the shamus is that we then take it in each of the days, we light from right to left. And so the first day you would only have one candle. And then the second day you would add and have a second candle. Come on. And then those would burn down further, and it's done at dusk. And then the third day, and then the fourth day, and then the fifth day, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth. Now, the interesting aspect of the concept of the light, and what's also interesting here is that there's lighting in Christmas, there's lighting in Kwanzaa. Lighting gives us strength, hope, direction for the future. And one of the unique aspects of why that the menorah is lit from right to left is that as each one builds upon each other, there's more light and faith and growth and opportunities to move forward. Now, part of the celebration also is that we have certain foods. And so one of the famous foods is in the Jewish faith is brisket. Now, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. So I'm a Texan. So our Texans, we have brisket and we cook it slow and we cook it long and you bait it. And 12, 14 hours later, it's soft, it's beautiful, it has all kinds of spices. But in the Jewish brisket, it also has its own spices and cooks slow and low. And that's the main meat that's served. You also have something called kugel, which is like a noodle pudding that goes together. But Dr. Bruce's favorite two things are something in the, I don't know if you can see this or not. Can you see? Yes. So this is basically a jelly donut, but in the Jewish faith, it's called the sugafoit. Delicious. The other thing that Dr. Bruce really loves is there's something called potato latkes. And the potato latkes are very thin pieces of potato mixed with onion, and they're fried. Now, you can either use sour cream. I happen to like applesauce. Delicious. Now, there's a game that's played. Excuse me.
Not fair, Dr. Bruce. Not fair.
Hey, come on over. Being celebrated soon. We'd love to have you over. It's called the dreidel. Whoops, which way can you see? I'm not sure where I'm holding it. There we go. In the dreidel. The dreidel is basically like a top, and you get to play it. And on the dreidel, there are 4 letters. And the letters are the nun, the gimel, the hey, and the shin. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you? Possibly. Yes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. Yes, maybe you can. And you spin it, and it'll fall on one of the 4 letters. Oops, there we go. Now, the interesting aspect is that during this period of time when the Greek-Syrian organization was not allowing any faith, and here the Jewish faith, to be able to study and learn. So what the fathers and the mothers of the Jewish faith used the dreidel game to be able to teach the Talmud. So it was a secret mechanism in reference to being able to learn about your faith during a time of oppression.
Wow.
Very cool.
Hmm.
And, the dreidel was basically created for the Jews to be able to study the Talmud, though they were shut down. So another interesting thing about the menorah, there's 8 candles. I know in Kwanzaa there's 7 candles. And the 8 candles here, and also in Christmas you were talking about the lights. So I think it's very unique that a lot of the different religions have some significant components that intertwine with each other. So you can be different, yet you can be the same. And I think that's the aspect of what I'd like to think of the festival of all of our lives and religions, how they come together. And we are all brothers and sisters. And it's important to be different, but it's also important, I think, to find commonality. Might you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One last little piece that people ask. So just a piece of fact that when you do this for the 8 days of lighting the menorah, it takes 44 candles. Just a little side fact. And another interesting aspect, we're in the year 2021. And Hanukkah this year will be from December 11th to December 18th. But on the Jewish calendar, which started at the beginning of Earth, it's the year 5781. Let me repeat that, 5781. So, Hebrew calendar basically started at creation. So there is a 3,761 date difference. And so one of the things that sometimes I've had friends of mine from other faiths ask me, how come it isn't consistent? Like Christmas is always on the 25th. And I'm drawing a blank for a moment on what day Kwanzaa is. It's very specific.
26.
26, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. You don't have hair on the top of your head and the thoughts kind of go out.
Speaking of Kwanzaa, Dr. Bruce, I'm going to have to cut you and bring Kwanzaa in right now because they're telling me in my ears that I'm over time. So we're going to have to bring you back so you can finish this. Miss Charlene Farrington, Spadey Museum.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Miss Charlene, how are you?
I'm doing well. How is everyone?
Super.
Good so
As
far.
Americans enter the final days of particularly divisive and a troubling year for race relations, all of us, both blacks and white alike, we can talk. Just take some comfort in embracing the principles that define the traditional African American holiday of Kwanzaa. As we struggle to make sense of the string of shooting deaths of young black men by white police officers, and as we search for ways to close this nation's rigid racial divide, the ideals of Kwanzaa can be both consoling and intrusive. I have some folks who wanted to know more about Kwanzaa, and they're going to be, I'm sure they're joining us tonight to hear. So many of the 7 guided principles, folks, as Ms. Farrington will tell you, create a framework for individual and collective problem-solving growth. Now, Ms. Farrington has led the management and development team at the Palm Beach County's only the sole African-American Cultural Museum, and that's the S.D. Spadey Museum, which is located in the heart of the historic West Settlers District in Delray Beach. Ms. Farrington, the Spadey Museum is well on its way to being a key resource for bridge building in this county. Thank you so much for enlightening us on a part of history that many of us, I'm sure, are not aware of. How would you explain Kwanzaa to a friend who had never heard of it? What is it, and what does it commemorate, and what distinguishes each day?
Okay. Before I start, you can find Spadey Museum on social media. Our handle is Spadey Museum everywhere, and our website is SpadeyMuseum.com. Kwanzaa, and this is important. I want you to really hear me. Kwanzaa comes from a Kiswahili phrase, Mutanda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits. It's a whole phrase. We've shortened the holiday and just used the one word. The symbology of 7 runs through everything. So there are 7 days of celebration in Southern African nations that actually celebrate this holiday. First fruits, there are the Nguza Saba, which is the 7 principles that Mr. Siwan was just talking about. They are values and principles that strengthen the family and the community. And there was even an extra A added on to the end of the word Kwanzaa in order for the word to have 7 letters. The holiday was developed by Dr. Mulanga Karenga during the Black Freedom Movement. Hear me now. This was created in the freedom movement, which was between the 1940s and the 1970s. That movement included the civil rights struggle, which we know as a struggle for equal rights and freedom from unfair persecution. And it was the Black Power movement, which served to elevate Black consciousness. Kwanzaa was first celebrated in 1966. It was created to reinforce vision and values of African culture. And as Mr. Siwan said, to act as a framework or to help us practice the restoration of the people of the diaspora, Black people all over the world. Okay? The holiday is people focused, it's environmentally caring, and it's morally centered. It's designed to preserve our culture. It's designed to promote good in the world. And it supports Black people as they come into the fullness of themselves. Okay? Celebrating Kwanzaa means you are ready to meditate deeply on the responsibility of being Black in our society. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune said, "We are heirs, which means we inherited, and we are custodians, which means we are responsible for taking care of a great legacy, and we must bear the glory and the beauty and the burden of that legacy with strength, with dignity, and with determination." So Nguza Saba, 7 principles. We
Now,
start celebrating.
No, continue.
We start celebrating on December 26th with the first principle, Umoja. I can't hear you, but I want you to say the word with me. Umoja. That means unity, togetherness, harmony, oneness, sameness. On the next day, December 27th, we celebrate Kujishakalia. Say it with me. Kujishakalia. Self-determination. I define myself. I develop myself. I name myself. I create myself. I speak for myself. Nobody else speaks for me, makes for me, can tell me what to look like, can tell me who I am. The next day, December 28th, Ujima. Collective work and responsibility. We cooperate. We work together. What you do benefits us all. If one of us is in trouble, we are all in trouble. We work collectively to build our culture and our community. The next day, December 29th, Ujama. Cooperative economics. Just like Ujima, we build our businesses and we benefit each other with our businesses. I make head wraps, you make shirts, she makes skirts, and we sell to each other. And for those who can't buy from us, we are generous. We find a way to make sure they are included. The next day is Nia. Nia
Brown.
Purpose. We make it our collective job. We treat it like a day job to build and develop our community and regain our traditional greatness. Okay? December 31st, Kumba. Creativity. We use our creativity to restore our people, right? We are very creative people, and we use that creative energy to restore each other. And the final day, January 1st, Imani. Imani. Faith. We believe. And I'm not saying we repeat. I'm saying we believe with our hearts in our people, in each other, in our struggle, and the validity of it. We believe in the worthiness of it, and we believe in the victory.
Ms. Farrington, we have a question here. We give gifts at Christmas time. Are there certain gifts that's ideal for Kwanzaa? And if so, what are some ideal gifts for Kwanzaa?
Yes, Kwanzaa is not about gifts. However, because we have children in our mix, we do bring to the Kwanzaa celebration gifts for our children. And they are typically something that is made. So if you're a baker, you're going to bring pastries. If you can sew, you're going to bring scarves and head wraps or jewelry, okay? Or things for your hair, toys, handmade toys, preferably, wooden carvings. We're going to bring something that we create for our children.
You know, Charlene, we're getting a lot of questions here, both for you and Dr. Bruce. We're going to have to bring you guys back sometime before the year ends. But there's one question here. How do you think we are doing as a culture with these principles?
We are not teaching each other fast enough and enough. We need to be together like we are now constantly. And we need to be constantly reminding ourselves of our principles, of our values, and we need to be practicing them, right? When you're out and about at a protest and someone stands up and says, we believe X, Y, and Z, you need to remember, Kuji Chakalia, you determine what you believe. And you need to put your hand up and say, wait a minute, they don't speak for me. Let me tell you what I believe. We need to be practicing our values, and we need to do it more often, and we need to stay close together and keep up with each other.
Very well said. They're more than December. Someone said that it appears that quite a few moms named their kids after the principles of Kwanzaa, which that may be very good. But Charlene, it's always great having you with us. You're welcome back to join us anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
The pleasure was mine. And Miss Dina, take it away.
Thank you so much for enlightening us, Miss Charlene.
1 minute. It's now 8:12, folks. We beg you, please give us about 8 more minutes. And we went over a little, but this topic was so important that we had to address it today. Dina, you have it.
So what's not to like about the holidays, whether it's religious or not? The appeal of the end of December is practically universal across North America and much of the Western world. You know, you see the brightly decorated homes and Christmas trees and lights and all these amazing gatherings. No other time of the year is marked by 2 statutory holidays. So in Canada, as well as the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, Boxing Day is known as shopping holiday. In Bahamas and other Caribbean islands, it may take on another meaning. Here to share the Bahamian flavor of Boxing Day is Miss Rose Newbold.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, Miss Rose.
Hi, thank you for having me. So, we're going to go ahead and talk about Boxing Day, which I did receive a lot of questions about already. I guess people saw the flyer and wanted to know what Boxing Day was.
Definitely.
All right.
How would you explain Boxing Day to a friend who had never heard about it?
So Boxing Day is a holiday celebrated the day after Christmas, which is December 26th. It originated in the UK in the middle of the 19th century under Queen Victoria, and is still celebrated in a number of countries that previously formed part of the British Empire. And when I say formed part, there are 54 countries in the Commonwealth, one of them being where my parents are from. Got to show that. Represent flag. Okay, so the member states were established as free and equal. So yeah, that's a little bit about the Boxing Day. If they never heard about it, it's a day that originated in the UK in the middle of the 19th century. So if someone will ask, what is it? It's where the wealthy, they used to give boxes of leftover food and gifts to the less fortunate, along with a day off to visit their families on December 26th, being that the servants and the workers, or whatever you want to refer to them as, they had to work on Christmas Day to serve the wealthy. And so on that day, it was like a day off to celebrate with friends and family and to recognize their service by giving them boxes of leftover food and gifts.
Wait, Miss Newbold, if Boxing Day is supposed to be the day after Christmas, why is it celebrated on December 20th this year?
It's not celebrated on the 26th this year because Boxing Day, if it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's observed on the following Monday. It's considered to be a bank holiday in the UK, just like Christmas Day, with many making a dash for the sales, stepping outside for long walks with friends and family, or even attending a sporting event. They hold it on the following Monday instead of the weekend because it's like a bank holiday.
Well, Rose, I have a quick question. Do you have relatives in the Bahamas?
I do.
Did you reach out to them to let them know you're going to be on Community Conversation tonight so they could tune in?
I have been putting it out there on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know if they're on.
All right. If you're in the Bahamas watching us right now, make sure you sign in, tune in. I mean, what we call it again, Dina? Sound off. Type your Bahamas. Type your city or state or your city or what do you have in the Bahamas? You have cities and what do you have? You have villages.
You have settlements.
Settlement. Type your settlement in the chat. If you're in Trinidad, go ahead and do that right now. Now's the time to shout out. If you're in Jamaica, go ahead and do that. If you're in the Belize, go ahead and do that. Wherever you are, type it in the chat so we can know you're sounding off. Go ahead, Rose. Dina. St. Catherine represent. Go ahead, Dina.
How does celebrating Boxing Day build a community?
Well, it's a day off to celebrate with family and friends through shared experiences, food, and dance. It's a very fun. It's like so fun. Like, some people go to the beach and just, have like a. They don't call it picnic there, but anyway, like a picnic there.
How do you celebrate Boxing Day yourself?
Well, I'm here in America, and Boxing Day to me right here in America, if I'm not in the Bahamas celebrating it, there's nothing really to do here besides recuperate from all of the food from the day before.
Definitely.
So there's not much to do as far as that is concerned. You're still, talking about probably the previous day, or you're just catching up with family and friends until they go back home, wherever they may live or whatever. But on Christmas Day, Christmas
takes over.
Yeah, Christmas takes over. Yes. So that is pretty much about Boxing Day for those who don't know it about it or whatever. But Boxing Day is that holiday that's celebrated on the 26th of December normally, but not this year. It will be celebrated on December 28th, which is the following Monday, being that it falls on a Saturday.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Miss Newbold.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Happy to see you.
You too.
Now, with all of our guests today, we're able to see how culture progresses with time. And with going back to our leadership minute with Mr. John Maxwell tonight, adversity and passing the stool has really brought birth to these three wondrous holidays that I hope you viewers were able to learn from immediately. So that will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope you learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life. Young people, there's no greater investment you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps like us on Community Conversation. Next week, we'll hear that there's a lot more to December than what we celebrate on the 25th. Thank you to all of our guests for participating and enlightening us. And a big, sincere shout out to the Boca Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and YouTube. A special thanks to our sponsors, Healthier Delray Beach, Blanc New Look Barbershop, DNA Total Fitness, Jeff Stern CPA, Wellness Financial, Roots and Wings, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. As we wrap up tonight's session, we leave you.
Before you wrap up, Daryl, just got a text here. By popular demand, and you know who's leading your fan club out there, they have declared that you've earned the last name Lemon now. So apparently you're now Daryl Don Lemon Creary. So I am proud to announce by popular demand, Miss W and her crew have named you Daryl Don Lemon Creary. Take it away, brother. Take it away.
Love to you, Miss W. Thank you, everybody. All right, so wrapping up tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
All right. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please stay tuned with us next week and continue on. Share with friends if you would like to, so we can get that basis on and share our ideals and principles with you. Be safe and have a wonderful
Have a safe weekend.
Bye.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.